Some people are rude people, and they're like, I'm just being myself, I like to stay my mind. But they are very uncooked. They are very rude. From all that I can tell, there's a lot of people that are taking stands that are not necessarily what they believe in, but they heard somebody say it. It's okay to not have children, or it's okay to want to have children. I don't think it's totally bad to maybe film when you're helping people, but you begin to question from what standpoint or from what place this person is doing such a thing.
Our pursuits must go beyond just seeking material things, but seeking genuine human value, that which we're able to give to others through our way of life and being, that uplifts them, that ennobles them, that makes them feel respected and dignified. We never need to be vulnerable. We need to be true. We need to be genuine, but not vulnerable. How's it going?
Oh, good.
Okay.
Hope you're having a pleasant one so far.
Yes, and I really like the way this color is, buttering up this place right now.
And you look very kingly, very
Thank you very much.
majestic.
You look very sweet and all buttered up. Not like a butty, but
Alright. Club kids.
Sure.
Yes. Essentially, let me start with how are you doing today? Like, how are you doing?
Myself?
Yes.
How I'm doing?
Yes.
We don't have a choice.
Ooh.
We have to do well.
Yeah.
Because everything is made to do well. So we just have to key into the natural order of things, and we would do well. We would thrive. This life, this existence is as simple as we make it to be, or as difficult, whichever we choose.
So it now brings me to the point of there's this day-to-day interaction with people generally, and you have conversations with people and like, how are you? And you're like, I'm fine. And everyone's like, I'm fine. And everyone's moving along with their life, like, and nobody really takes time to delve into like, is this person really fine, or it's just like that answer that just comes. And of course, we can say some people are doing that from a place of protecting their privacy, but how do we separate that from being vulnerable or just being an open book to people? Everybody can know exactly what's going on with you, but how do we separate that from being private and also sharing what's up? Like, if you're not fine, then like today is not really that great.
When we say we are fine, it is some sort of prayer or wish or affirmation. At least that is the way, in my position, I choose to say it, that we want to be fine. We want things to be good. This, however, does not change what we are giving off at any point in time that other people can sense or can be empathetic to if they're open enough. So it really depends on how empathetic one is to be able to feel that there is more beyond what we are saying. And this is something that is very important, that we're able to develop ourselves to be able to experience beyond what people say, to actually feel, to experience people, because the words are just one part. And of course, people don't always say exactly what they mean. It's more important to have some intuitive sensing of our environment. And that's why some people can say, seems to me that, you're not feeling very well, or that you're dull, or things like that. Or you seem so excited today, you seem so happy today. So it is what we are giving off and what the other person is able to sense. And then, of course, there are people that we feel a stronger affinity to, that makes it possible to be more open, to share things more intimate or more personal. We obviously do not need to do that with everyone, but there are people that we feel comfortable enough to do that with. But at the same time, it does not mean that we are vulnerable. We never need to be vulnerable. We need to be true. We need to be genuine, but not vulnerable. We can choose to be authentic. We can choose to be natural. And in that naturalness, express ourselves in the genuine sense of what we are truly feeling or experiencing, but not merely to be vulnerable.
Great. That was very exciting. So it brings me to a point of, you talked about genuineness, authenticity. That was the word, like authenticity, being authentic to yourself. And we have this word being thrown around a lot lately. To thyself be true. I mean, to thyself be true. Be yourself. Express yourself. What? And it can be a very, especially for a growing person, it can be a very, let me use the word funny or unsure place to be as to your identity, what you are as a person or who you are as a person before you even think about sharing or opening up yourself. Or some people also do not want to be perceived a particular kind of way, but it will bring me to the question of what is authenticity to you? What is being yourself? Some people are rude people and they're like, I'm just being myself. I like to say my but they are very ungood. They are very rude. So what is authenticity, or how would you express authenticity? I'm trying to find my authentic self. I have to show up online as a creative sometimes and like be yourself. Like, so what exactly am I supposed to be?
It will be helpful for us to consider, every single one of us, that because we are human beings, we have the responsibility to live like human beings, and this is not something that we can shy away from. So that we can say that the foundational nature of a human being in its most natural and most genuine sense is to be responsible. So this should guide every other thing that we choose to do. This brings to mind a particular statement that we often hear Christians speak of when they make reference to the Bible. And this has to do with the human being giving dominion over the earth. Let us look at not just the word dominion, but the concept of that expression. The human being is given responsibility, leadership, the ability to lead and to guide the direction that the course of the earth and the activities on the earth will take. So it is not dominion in the sense of authority that is without responsibility. Authority must always be with responsibility. So it is given to us, human beings, the responsibility to guide or to lead or to assert some measure of pressure in this world and on this earth, such that we can make this place a beautiful place, a happy place, or we can make it a dark place or a gloomy place. No other creature save the human spirit on earth, not the animals, is given such an ability or is given such a responsibility. So when we think of ourselves at the very core, at the very foundation of what makes us human beings, we find responsibility. And then every other thing must follow. That means that we must be responsible for the peace, for the joy, for the beauty, for the cleanliness, for the harmony. And if we approached all our interactions, all our engagements from that place of responsibility, then we can find beautiful, manifold expressions that make us unique, but at the same time, that put us in the same space of having responsibility for all that is around us. So we must be responsible for how we speak. We cannot afford to be rude and say that we're just being ourselves. To be ourselves at the core is to be responsible.
That's responsibility to the world. You're responsible for joy and peace.
Responsible for everything. And when we say the world, we are part of this world, of this creation.
Okay. So I am, or let me just say, a lot recently I've had a lot of interactions with people that, I mean, it might look like I'm deviating a lot, but it's still part of it. I've had interactions with people that tell me, Eric, I want to be child-free.
Child-free.
Free. It's a word. Check it. They want to be child-free, which means they don't want to have children.
I see.
So it's now compared to, let's say, a few years ago or many years ago, where everybody's dream was to go to school, finish university, find a nice girl, get married, have kids.
Find a nice guy.
Oh, find a nice girl, find a nice guy. Yeah. And then have children, And now, I am now interacting with people that do not necessarily want to have children. And it's just because some feel they don't want to be responsible for another human. It seems like a very big task or role that you're bringing yourself into. What would you say is your stand on that? I personally do not have, if you're choosing to be child free, but there are people that are not of like great benefits to us in this world, maybe by their actions, by the activities that they do. And only if they've been born into better environment, better places, they might have turned out better, right? And that's why I'm not really blaming people that are deciding that, okay, I don't want to have children. But what do you think should be our approach as people, in this thought process of it's okay to not have children, or it's okay to want to have children? What's your point of view about this generation?
I don't have a point of view.
This is really true.
But we can think of it this way. Having children is not something that should be a traditional idea. When you spoke of the dream of most people being to go to school, graduate, get work, earn an income that will allow them to comfortably enter into marriage and start a family, have children, and all of that. Yes, there would be those who would say it's their dream. But if we looked at it by and large, it's sort of a traditional idea that, people believe that it must happen in this way. Parents believe that when a child becomes an adult, at this age or that age, they must do this or that or this. But we are not meant to live from traditional perspectives. Each one must follow a path intuitively where we are not in competition with anyone. We are not following rigidly any system or order or traditional idea, but we are following a personal journey in which all our experiences are essentially things that we can connect with inwardly, deep inside, and we're not just doing them outwardly in the sense of a biological clock.
Yeah.
Everyone that is permitted the opportunity to come to this earth as a human being in human form is granted so out of the greatest love, as an opportunity to move further towards the goal of becoming a true human being and to be of value in this creation. It is an opportunity to interact with all sorts, to find close proximity to what is beautiful, and thus perhaps be inspired to work in that direction, to experience all of the things that are still holding us down, to recognize them and to work towards being clarified so that we can become. And all of this happens so naturally, in such a perfect sense, that we should only always see every birth as a grace. When we speak of this or that person not bringing value to this earth, we are only looking from the point where we can see, which is purely from a physical perspective. But we never really see the entire picture because our existence is not a purely physical one. And so, in the sense of humility, we can simply focus on ourselves and what we can give into this world that will add value to it. When a person says they do not want to have a child, it is a good thing that they have that clarity to be truthful to themselves and not to merely follow traditional ideas. Because there are those who, deep within, do not have that conviction, but do not want to be seen as stepping out of the traditional path. And so walk a path that they are not fully committed to and invested in, and so they struggle. So at any point in time, it is always better to be true to oneself, especially in this instance of having to take up the responsibility of helping another human being as a child in finding their path to becoming adults.
Because sometimes I think it can also, especially early on in life, or somebody who is probably just getting into early adulthood and is trying to figure out their lives. Being now responsible for helping to direct somebody's path can be major. Um, but it now leads me to the place of purpose. Purpose. What's it? Ah, that's something that maybe not everybody thinks about it as to, okay, what exactly am I here to do? Everybody, or a huge amount of people, are on this journey of just doing what's the next thing, I just living life, but it's in the sense of discovering purpose for any man or any woman or any man. What would you say? Does everybody's purpose, or I literally like stumbled. What is informing this is I stumbled upon a post, and it was kind of something that was purpose driven, and I've also had interactions with people that they don't really want much in life. So there's somebody that is very, I'm seeing the future, I'm seeing all these big things. And I've also interacted with people that are like, I just want to have my house, just live in my house, drink, sleep, be able to provide for my family. That's okay. And then somebody's like, I want to impact this children. That set of people. Are we all called to different things, or are there people that are called to specific things? And is it okay to now be on more of the laid back side rather than being just part of the people that are fronting for everything, are title for something, or are trying to, do something big in that sense? Is everybody called to one thing or the other, or is it also okay to just be chill or reserved in your own space?
That's a very interesting question. If we observe the way we live on this earth today as human beings by and large, at any point in time, the way an individual inwardly experiences will determine the nature and the real quality of their expression of living. When we say quality of expression of living, we're talking about all of the things that have real consequence and not merely the outward forms of things. So we're not talking just about the quantity of things that people do, or the quantity of things that people possess in the physical things that we see and all of the physical things that make up the expression of their living, but we're talking about the things that have real value in this world, that contribute to the peace and the joy of our world. Those are the things that have real consequence for us. So that as we choose to live, regardless of whether we say we want to lead a simple life, whatever that means for the individual, or we want to live a more active and robustly expressed life, there is a difference between ambition and aspiration. In the sense of ambition, we would find all of the goals that we set for ourselves that help us to accomplish things for our own benefit, for our own glorification, if you like, for our personal accomplishments and all of those things that people would see and say we have a reputation, for our reputation, for our acknowledgement, and all of those things, for our wealth or for our riches, for our prosperity. On the other side, we have aspiration, which suggests the things that we are seeking to give into this world as an expression of who we are or what we are, that consequently has a far-reaching effect beyond the quantity of things around us, the things that people remember in their hearts about us. So, regardless of what anyone wishes to do, you want to be the president of a country, you want to be the chairman of something, whatever you set for yourself as your goals or whatever you want to pursue in life, it is important that we don't just have ambitions, because ambitions only serve the individual. But nobody is here to merely serve themselves. Everything in creation is created to serve something else. So we must use our abilities, our talents, and our skills to serve the world around us, to have genuine aspirations that express the true qualities, the foundational qualities of our being, beginning with responsibility. So our aspirations must be driven from a place of responsibility for us to have a meaningful and fulfilling life. You could see purpose in that sense. So purpose must go hand in hand with responsibility, and not merely an ambition to impress one's presence on this earth, but to express one's nature and being in such a way that we experience value.
So it's not just about you, it's now me, and then how I'm able to also pour
what we're able to give that is of genuine value.
Not just also, okay.
Sorry, go ahead, say it.
I wanted to say something around not just sharing money. Is that also okay? I mean, sharing money with them with the cameras.
You want us to talk about that?
We can. That's because I think it's a whole different. I don't think it's totally bad to maybe film when you're helping people, but I also think that you begin to question from what standpoint or from what place this person is doing such a thing, when it's now like you're doing this every other time and you're just, it looks like something that you're doing to maybe get clicks online sometimes, or just people see that, oh, this person is a philanthropist, or
Well, this is a question that each one must answer for themselves. It is always a personal thing. It is always up to the decision of the individual and what they genuinely wish to achieve. We cannot determine what other people do, or why they do what they do, or how they grow from what they do. We can only focus on ourselves and what we wish to do. So it's really up to each person to look inwards and ask the question, do I genuinely want to be of value, or do I want to be perceived to be of value? It is one thing for people to see one as being of value. It's another thing to really be of value. And if we are seeking to really be of value, then it really doesn't matter whether we are seen or what we are seen doing, because at all times, the laws in creation are always operating. Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he reap, in the sense of the quality of the sowing and not in the quantity or in the volumes.
I think I get the full scope of it now, as to what's ambition and your purpose. And sorry, I'm trying to remember the two exact words. They were supposed to be ambition and
Aspiration.
then your aspirations. So they should work, and then your ambition is supposed to feed. Your aspiration is supposed to feed your ambition.
Well, we can put it this way. Ambition is self-serving. All ambition is self-serving. But it is always a choice of the individual to determine whether we want to be self-serving or we want to serve in the wholesomeness of what it means to serve. So it's always a personal decision.
Okay.
We do not need to adhere to any collective idea. It is the responsibility of each person to determine how they wish to channel the energy and the resources given to us as human beings, in the knowledge that we are always accountable for what we use our human resources for. And this also brings to mind the statement, "By their works ye shall know them." And this is not speaking of works in the sense of the forms that are seen, but in the sense of the quality, the effect, and what value it genuinely serves in the world, which has absolutely nothing to do with what it looks like, but everything to do with what real value it gives, whether it uplifts and brings about peace and joy, or whether it is just an outward thing that is soulless and lacks any life, any life substance driving it. So again, each one must choose where you stand. If you want to be one who sows genuine seeds of potential in the world, or you want to be one who is about the forms and no real substance.
Yeah. Very deep. Thank you very much for that very insightful breakdown. We now have like more, or let me say, I now have a broader idea or a broader sense of what that should probably look like, as to you now need to find your own form of expression and then express it that way. That was very insightful. Thank you very much for.
Thank you. Would you allow us to just add something to this? Today, a lot of us are under the pressure of adhering to trends and what we call global standards or societal standards, whether as individuals or as communities or even as nations. As nations, you would hear us often speak about developed nations and underdeveloped nations. We use those terms. And we speak of developed nations as nations with advanced technology, a certain model of organization in their society. And then we say that this is developed. But genuine development for anything, for anyone, for any society has nothing to do with any specific standard, but has everything to do with the development of the potential, the innate potential of that thing, of that person. So that means that if we are going to develop as individuals, or as communities, or as a nation, we must develop from what we are within and express that outwardly. And everyone carries something different. So that if we are true to what we are, then the expression of our development would take on different forms that are different from the others, so that we may find ourselves in the sense of human beings that can be likened to a garden of different flowers, each one beautiful in its own right, but different colors, different forms, different shades, different textures, but all coming together to form this beautiful garden. And it would never occur to us to say that this flower is more beautiful than that one, or that one is more beautiful than that one. We would see everything as a whole, as a glorious garden that we can sense as beautiful. So that if we are going to become what we must become as individuals, or as communities, or as nations, we mustn't draw our guidance from external ideas and opinions. We must always live outwardly from the directions that we experience intuitively, and express our forms or our living from our intuitive sense of beauty, and trust that whatever forms that materialize from there will be beautiful and will be an expression of development. But development is not a rigid form that is determined by any singular individual or any singular nation.
So when we are talking about standards, it's not this is what it must be. It's in your own variety, in your own expression.
We can always go back to the point of the fundamental core of the human being, which is responsibility. The standard for all of us is responsibility. From that point of responsibility, we can say, how do we demonstrate responsibility for what has been given to us? In our community, we have gold. In your community, you have silver. It is our responsibility to use what has been given to us in such a way that we express something beautiful. So it is not about the final forms. It is not about saying that gold is of greater value than silver. The real value for us is always what we do with what we have. And everyone is blessed. Everyone, in that sense, is blessed in equal measure. It only expresses outwardly in the sense of how much responsibility we are taking for what is given to us.
So, from the last few words that you had said, it just brought me to a place of thinking. It's just a thought that popped up in my mind, and is there anything as original thinking, like original thoughts? we have to be, we have to follow our intuition, our spirit give them. But is there anything like the original thoughts? Because as much as I can see, there's a lot of information flying about. There's a lot of things people are always, once you open your phone, there's like five new things that you never heard, and you did not have enough time to, you know, process and come to a reasonable conclusion as to what your stand or your point of view on that should be. In that sense, and it's usually short form videos or short form stuff, 2 minutes, and then somebody has compressed like things that should take you a good amount of time to research and come to a very solid conclusion, or you should have inferences or things that you can put together and say, this is the reason why I am taking this stand. From all that I can tell, there's a lot of people that are taking stands that are not necessarily what they believe in, but they heard somebody say it. I can give a very good example. I was having a conversation with somebody about, it was political, and why that was the case. I just gave my, prior to that, the person didn't have much. Then the next time I had heard the person talk about something like that, literally said what I told him the previous like week, and I'm like, did you not go back to maybe, even if you could not argue at that point, I'm not trying to argue with anybody, I do not have energy to do that, but even if you could not counter whatever I said, or you were not sure, I feel like everybody has the responsibility to go back and come up with their own stuff. But everybody's just going around with different ideologies that is on Facebook, that is on Instagram. Do you think there is actually like original thoughts, original thought processes, and should people also delve more into that, or give like more expression to that? And if that's the case, like this case that I'm talking about, where everybody has stuff that is not that deep, how can we help people get back to that point of being very reflective?
So, what occurs to one right now with what you're saying is fashion sense. When people dress in this way or that way, not necessarily because it is an authentic idea, but perhaps they've seen this and then tomorrow they've seen that. But at the end of the day, it's always our choice, our responsibility to choose what we hold on to and what we profess, or what we say we are choosing to believe in. We live in a world of thought forms, you can say it that way. And so we're constantly trading in ideas, whether we're conscious of it or not. However, the fundamental responsibility of whatever position we take is always ours, in the sense of what we are longing for, what we are aspiring for. And this is why it is important to be clarified in the sense of standing for something and to have conviction in something. When we say something, we do not mean any particular thing like politics or football or any of those things. We're talking about truth and what it means to live. So each one should have a sensing of the nature of the direction that they want to order their living, in the sense of what is beautiful, or what is ascending, or what is uplifting, and what has beautiful consequences for us. And in that sense, we can attract all that is similar. But if we are not clarified in that sense, if we are wavering in our decision to be, then we are at the mercy of all of the different kind of thoughts that hover around us. And so we can recognize that in the individual who is here today, and then tomorrow is there, and then next tomorrow they're there, and then they're used for this year, and the next day this other person is using them. They don't have conviction in anything. And that is not beautiful for a human being.
So as human beings, we need to have a solid point or a strong point or a belief in something.
Everyone must have conviction in something to be grounded,
To the place of ground.
because that defines you and tells where you are going. But it's important to set the goal as something so beautiful that is befitting for the human being. Everyone has a natural sensing of what is genuinely beautiful, what is light, what is ascending. Everyone does naturally, even though most of us allow ourselves to be under the pressure of the ideas that we find around us. But at the core, everyone senses what is genuinely beautiful. And that is why we can recognize a smile for what it is. We can say this is a genuine smile. That is why we can hear laughter and say this is a hearty laughter. We can recognize acts of love and say this is an act of love. And we can recognize evil and say this is evil. But when a person loses that ability to make such clear distinctions, then they are losing that which essentially defines them to be conscious human being or a conscious human spirit. And that is not a beautiful state. But in the sense of the genuine development and flourishing of a human being, we can clearly recognize what is beautiful and what is not.
So in all of these things, how are you able to tune in? Is there a way to put it?
To tune in.
So even though you mentioned that we all have this genuine consciousness of being able to identify what is genuine, what is beautiful, what is evil, despite all the noise, how are we able to, become better at it, if I may say, rather than just being blown about? Are there like things that you can do personally as a person?
I wouldn't be able to tell you any specific things because it is not a function of giving a prescription as to how to live. If we understand that what we give into this world by virtue of quality is what we will get, and if we can ask ourselves, always as an individual, what do I want? Do I want what is beautiful? Do I want to experience peace? Do I want to experience joy? If I want those things, then I must give those things into this world to receive those things. So for one who decides that that is what they want, then we must set our goals higher beyond material things, because material things in themselves lack the quality to give peace or to give joy. So our pursuits must go beyond just seeking material things, but seeking genuine human value, that which we're able to give to others through our way of life and being, that uplifts them, that ennobles them, that makes them feel respected and dignified, and that we can experience their own glow and their own beauty.
Yeah. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for that. It was such a delight and a very deep journey
Thank you very much.
into personal growth, and yeah, that's all I have to.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
I have one thing for you though.
much.
Just say Hachi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.